Hello friends, it is that time of year. It is time for the mid-year freakout book tag. I'm so excited. I did this last year. It was my first book tag, not my last one, my first one. I had a ton of fun with it. If you go back and you watch that video, you will see that I am still very stiff and rigid and trying to get into the rhythm of finding my voice here on BookTube. Also, it's one of my first videos in front of my shelves, which are gonna be expanding soon, which I'm so excited about, but that's not the point of today's video. Let's get into our mid-year freakout book tag 2024 edition. Bring in the first question. The best book that I have read so far in 2024, let me tell you, I've had some fantastic reads so far this year, but I think it is going to have to be Enemy of God by Bernard Cornwell. It is book 2 of the Warlord Chronicles. Oh my gosh, I cannot say enough good things about these books. I have been just on a high from this series. Might be my new favorite trilogy of all time. It is a retelling of the Arthurian legend, but it is done from a perspective of a man named Derval. It is so good. Oh, I cannot say enough good things about it. Please go read the Warlord Chronicles and then we can gush about Enemy of God together. The best sequel that I have read, so I'm gonna try to not be repetitive in my answers here because Enemy of God is a sequel. So I am gonna say ACOMAF, A Court of Mist and Fury. I had so much fun with my ACOTAR reads. I might even read this book again this year. I've read it 3 times since February. I've loved it every single time. ACOMAF is great fun. I super enjoy reading it. I love the world that Sarah J. Maas creates in this series, specifically in book 2. It's fantastic. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's when you get to know the inner circle, and I feel like it's when the series transitions from being a Beauty and the Beast retelling into a fantasy series. I really enjoyed it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but that's going to be my favorite sequel of the year so far. That's not Enemy of God. Okay, if this looks a little bit different, I had to fix my lighting midway through, so let's get back into it. Book 3 on this list is a new release that I haven't read yet that I'm looking forward to reading, and that is The Crimson Court by Brendan Noble. This is an independently published book. My friend Esme reviewed it because she was given an ARC for it, and she said if you are a fan of the series A Song of Ice and Fire, then chances are you will love this series. It is possibly his debut novel, I'm not entirely sure, but it is one that I am intrigued by and I want to read it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I feel like most of the people that do this tag that are in the fantasy section of BookTube are all going to say the same thing, and that is going to be Wind and Truth, which is going to be book 5 of the Stormlight Archive. We are all gearing up for this book. I read through the Cosmere last year. I have one Cosmere read left, and that is The Sunlit Man that I need to read before book 5 comes out. I had a friggin' blast last year. You can listen to my chat here with my friend Tom, who's gonna be on the channel pretty soon for a Love Bomb chat. I'm getting off topic here. Let's move into the next book. Okay, we are trying this again. What you didn't see behind the scenes is that not only did this memory card die, a second one told me it was full, and I had to do all kinds of background stuff to get this working. But here we are, we're back in the middle of it. Let's get on to the next question. My biggest disappointment of the year has been Leather and Lark by Brynne Weaver. This was a really big bummer for me because book 1 of the Ruinous Love trilogy, which is Butcher and Blackbird, which I also read this year, is a 5-star read for me. It is so good. I loved that book and I was excited to dig into more characters from that world, and it just let me down. It wasn't one that I was anticipating or expecting. You can hear me rant more about it in my vlog here. Biggest surprise for me, again, I'm trying to keep this for one book per author. I want to just remind everyone of that. So because of that, My biggest surprise was Heartless Hunter. This was a YA series that I came across. It's just book 1. It was such a great time. I really loved it. I'm super excited for book 2. This is going to be a duology. It didn't really read like a YA to me. It felt more like new adult, which I really enjoyed. It was immersive. I liked the characters. I liked the little bits of magic that were in this world. It was a really fun read. Highly recommend it. My biggest surprise was probably The Wisdom of Crowds, just because everyone has gone on about how The Trouble with Peace is their favorite book. For the most part, there's a few people like Joanna from Joanna Reads who likes The Wisdom of Crowds better. From the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, I also fall into this category. I preferred the third and final book of the trilogy. I really enjoyed the trilogy as a whole, but the third book was the 5-star standout read for me of that trilogy. I loved it, had a great time reading it. Favorite new author is probably going to have to be Emily Henry. I have clicked so well with Emily Henry this year. Oh, that woman knows how to write a story and how to get you into the hearts and minds and souls of characters in very few pages. She is just so great at helping you feel immersed in the world, knowing your characters, their motivations, why they do things, why they tick, why they feel things, their relationships, who they are, who their friends are, the whole thing, all of it. Perfection. Emily Henry. Love her so much. Okay. I would also like to say that I would forever pick Sandang Glokta for this, as he is my forever fictional crush, especially after now just having read Age of Madness, because I got more Glokta and I love him even more than I did when I read First Law last year. I just love Glokta so very much. But we're gonna have to pick a new character, and this year I read so much romantasy that I feel like I actually have a book boyfriend choice that I can throw into this mix here. And while I loved my ACOTAR guys, some of them, I'm gonna go with Nyktos from the Flesh and Fire series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. He's delightful, 10 out of 10. My newest favorite character, I've mentioned this book already, but I don't care, is gonna have to be Derval Caduran. I love Derval so much from the Warlord Chronicles series. Oh, I just love getting to know him, get into his mind. His journey is so incredible. He is everything I want in a character. I love Derval. I don't want to say more about him because I feel like if I do, I'm going to start giving away spoilers about things about the character, but he is just a solid character from start to finish. I really, really love Derval. Book that made me cry. Last year, I said, I do not cry when I read. Let's bring that clip up. A book that made me cry. I don't really cry when I read, so that's just not really gonna happen for me. Sorry. And this year, I have cried already a few times with reading some of the books that I have had, so I don't even know who I am anymore, but the book that made me cry the most and the most recently was Happy Place by Emily Henry. This book hit me in all of the feels, in all of the best ways. I was left with such a book hangover from this book that I ended up rereading it a second time in the course of a week because I couldn't get enough of it. I had an emotional journey with Happy Place. Book that made me happy. I've had a lot of books that have made me happy this year, but I'm going to say Morningstar in the Red Rising saga because it had a scene that I was waiting for, and Pierce delivered in such an epic and excellent way that it's become my favorite scene possibly in any book. I love it. I love it so much. So Morningstar made me really happy, even though there were points of that book that didn't make me happy. But overall, the joy I got from that scene, perfection. The most beautiful book, I have had 3 lovely books come into my collection this year. I purchased a special edition of American Gods and Anansi Boys. That's a combo by Barnes & Noble. I got it used, but I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. And then the wonderful Mr. Fantasy Awash gifted me 2 two Neil Gaimans from LitJoy, which are the Stardust and Coraline versions that they put out this year, which are very beautiful, and I am looking forward to reading those. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? Oh my gosh, there are so many. There's always a list of books. I am hoping, even though this might not necessarily happen, last year in my video I said that my most anticipated new release of the year was The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I still haven't read that, so I really do want to read that by the end of this year. I am looking to start Malazan this year. Whether or not I'm going to like it is up for debate. Still don't know that yet. And last but not least, I do want to start Robin Hobb this year. I feel like I've been putting it off for a really long time because I didn't know if I was emotionally ready to dig into that. I had a really heavy start to my year. I needed some fun, lighter reads, which I had, and now I'm feeling like I'm getting back into my rhythm of getting more into fantasy, sci-fi, all that kind of stuff. Excited about that. I am doing a book club with Josh, so we're gonna have some great reads that are coming up throughout the year. If you wanna be more active and participate in our book club in ways beyond just showing up to the lives, you can do so by joining our Patreon, which is brand new. All of the information for that will be linked in the description down below. But I'm just so excited because there's always phenomenal books to read, and I have so many on my list that I am excited to get to. As for some channel updates, descriptions, what's going on, what's been happening, I have been trying to put out a few videos a week. You might be hearing my cat meowing. If those of you are not new here, you know that cat. His name is Murray. He's in videos regularly, this cat. He loves to be famous on the internet. But I have started a Patreon with Josh, like I just said. We are super excited about this because we're gonna be doing our book club once a month, and I wanna be able to really bring my community into one place, which is this Discord server that I've created. I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm continuing back on with the Love Bomb chats. I don't know how frequently they're gonna happen, but they are going to happen, which I always love because I love to hear what other people are reading that's bringing them joy. And that way I find new books and new authors and new stories, and that's always a wonderful thing. Few things beat talking to someone else about something that you love and getting to share that passion with them. There's few things in the world that beat that for me. I am hoping to start these series like I was talking about. I've been vlogging more. If you're liking that content, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions too. What would you guys like to see from the channel? Please let me know. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate it more than you possibly know. Let me know what your answers are to some of these questions. I'll have the questions put in the box, the description box. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Goodreads, Discord, all of that fun stuff, you want to help support the channel, hit like, subscribe, comment, join the Patreon, do whatever. I am so excited for the second half of this year. I'm hoping that in terms of reading, it will be just as good as the first half, which has already been absolutely phenomenal. I got 85 books in the first half of the year. I don't think it'll be as many going forward because I'm looking to start some heftier reads. All in all though, I am excited. Thank you once again for spending your time with me. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.